Welcome to Rauta's Black Metal Reviews. This time we have a new band from Finland. This one is Aesthus, and they recently, that is late March, released their first album, Hänen temppelinsä varjoissa. In the shadow of his temples would be the translation. Now, these guys founded the band actually in my home city, so I got this hand-delivered in 2017, and they were not too hasty to create first album, and I think that turned out to be a wise decision, as it's always the case, because when you really have the time to do demos and you're not hurried to get your first album out, but actually focus on creating the music, hone them and polish the ideas and get rid of the bad ones, the end result is usually better than what it would have been if it was all hurried. So these guys took their time to create this album of Finnish black metal, and it's actually pretty good. This album features music for around 38 minutes, and it could be described just as melodic black metal the Finnish way. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys have been listening to a lot of black metal of the 90s and 2000s, especially the Finnish and Norwegian kind, because this is exactly like what you would imagine when that was taking place. Listening to bands such as Horna and probably lots of other Nordic bands, not only Finnish ones, and then you would have this kind of Finnish sounding black metal. That is, everything here is pretty much something that you've heard a million times before, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, even if you get that idea like I'm getting. But just saying, there's nothing out of ordinary, nothing special, nothing unique, nothing something that you haven't heard a million times before, because everything which happens on this album is something, yeah, I get this, that feeling, vibe, or whatever. So strong associations come with albums such as this. So before this album, the guys actually did a demo and then released a single and whatever. So they took a little bit of time, and I think, like I said, that's a wise decision because there are no clear weak points with this album. That's kind of proven with the songs that are kind of nice and sweet, with the exception of the last track, which is that 10 minutes or so. That is kind of the basic idea. You have certain melodic riffs which are kind of catchy, easy to kind of dig into, and you have those kind of trademark raspy vocals, the pretty basic production for this kind of album, and you have those tempo changes. Sometimes are faster and definitely more energetic, and sometimes the band just slows down for what could be described as a mid-tempo-ish region. This is by far not the most, not the fastest bands out there, not the slowest. So they're kind of avoiding the so-called extreme ends. This doesn't sound like Dark Funeral Marduk on speed, but more like, yeah, it's kind of fast, it's melodic, and it's easy to just figure out. And these songs could be a lot catchier, but that doesn't remove the fact that it's actually pretty well done. Also, what is interesting with the last track is that they have these kind of a strong and nice, clean vocals to create this little bit of different vibe for that particular track versus what's happening on the previous ones. That actually creates a nice diversity, given it's like a little bit of a different idea, different kind of a track, and it works well as a finishing track for this album. But beyond that, I mean, it's pretty basic. 7 tracks, 38 minutes. I mean, it's kind of a basic. If you had like 8 or 10 tracks, it would be easily this 45 minutes of an album, and yeah, you get the basic idea. Nothing too short, nothing too long, except for the last track, and then you just get away with it. Now, the good thing here is, because it's kind of similar to a lot of albums you've listened and liked, this is very easy to just like, yeah, I'm gonna just enjoy it, I'm gonna buy it, and then forget about it. It's not gonna be a future classic, I'm afraid. But because of this, similarity of other rather good albums, it's also just something that you can put there in your CD player every now and then, and like, yeah, these guys know their drill. Now, the downside is, of course, is that when you start comparing these to the classic ones, which this might be reminding you of, is that this is not gonna win those battles. Now, for the weaker albums of some classic bands or whatever, this could actually be a lot better, and even win the contest if you had that kind of a setting in your mind. But it's not gonna be one of those albums that you're gonna praise for years and years to come. I mean, this is not some kind of a 9 out of 10 album in any means, but that doesn't mean this album isn't justified to be released on CD. I think actually it's a pretty solid debut album, and definitely, in my opinion, deserves attention. This leaves a lot of place for improvement. There is a lot of room for, the band to actually hone and polish these ideas even further. But as a debut album, I think it's a pretty good one. And overall, I would say give it a shot if you like Finnish kind of melodic black metal. There is no reason why not. So give it a shot. You will find the links provided in the description box. And let me know how you like it. Thanks.